Who is responsible for correcting your child's handwriting? Is it the class teacher or the English teacher? But is she actually trained to develop handwriting? Does she really know the meaning of the strokes that a child is writing? Let me clarify this to you. There is a difference between judging a handwriting and understanding handwriting. Then who is a person who is actually trained and certified enough to be called a handwriting expert? Well, that role has a name. It's called a graphologist. So tell me, is your child's teacher trained in graphology? If not, then why is your child's handwriting left in non-expert hands? Hello, this is Maneesha Rajpal and you are listening to Inner Architecture. This is the final episode of the Kidographia Series. In the earlier episodes, we have spoken about attention, confidence, fatigue, speed, and expression. Today, we are looking at something deeper. Who is actually responsible for developing a child's handwriting? Before we proceed, let me visualize a letter G in small case for you. There is a body, the round shape, and there is a loop. This loop can be varied. Some individuals make their G loops bigger than the body. For some, the loops are very thin. For others, they can be sharp like a dagger. There can be innumerable ways to write a small case G. Now just stay with me here. Now the real question is, does the teacher checking your child's handwriting truly understand the psychological meaning behind different G formations? Now take something even simpler. The letter I. It has two parts, a stem and a dot. Now the question is it really just a dot? Or is it a dash, a circle, a smudge, or sometimes missing entirely? Is it placed directly above the stem, or slightly to the left, or is the dot drifting to the right? How close is this I dot to the stem? Or how far is it away from the stem? Because each of these variations is not random. Each formation carries a different meaning, and those differences begin to show up in behavior and in personality. And yet, what do the teachers usually look at? They just check if the I is dotted. And that's precisely my point. We can't expect someone to demonstrate what they have never been trained for. If this is making you think like never before, then pause and save this episode because you would want to come back to this one. Now, let's just step back for a moment. In systems like Finland, handwriting is not just writing. It is treated as a cognitive and motor skill working together. Yes, handwriting is a skill. And by that definition, any skill requires training. So let us view this child who wants to learn music. We don't ask a mathematics teacher to teach the skills required in music. Rather, we go to a music teacher because we understand music is a skill. In the same way, an English teacher is trained in language, skills like grammar, vocabulary, syntax, and expression. Likewise, handwriting is not language. It is a cognitive motor skill. And this is where the gap appears. This is not a teacher problem. Unfortunately, the teachers are saddled with work that they have never been trained in. They are expected to correct handwriting without being formally trained to understand the meaning of those formations. And this is where something very important is often missed. Handwriting is not just a way of writing. It is a reflection of personality. And that is exactly why it needs to be developed, not just corrected. Because when a child is repeatedly writing certain strokes, those strokes and slants are not just forming letters, they are reinforcing patterns in the brain. And over time, those patterns begin to show up as behavior. For example, a child may begin to show low self-confidence. And very often, no one is able to trace where it is coming from. The school is offering good education, there is supportive environment, and there is conscious parenting, and yet something doesn't align. Now here is the question. What if the origin of low self-confidence in that child comes from the wrong strokes the child is writing every single day? What if it is the non-awareness of these strokes that is quietly shaping the child's personality as argumentative or defiant? And that is where the system quietly fails the child, because handwriting in most places is treated as cosmetic. The child is often told to write neatly, improve presentation, and maintain margins. But nobody is asking, what is this writing doing to the child? Because handwriting is not just writing, it is a repetition. And whatever is repeated enough becomes a pattern. We need to remember, handwriting is not what a child writes, it is what the child is repeatedly becoming. And that pattern begins to show in behavior. If you step outside the classroom, you will see something very interesting. Across the world, handwriting is treated as a mirror of personality. In professional spaces, including insights reported in the Wall Street Journal and Forbes, handwriting analysis has been used to understand behavioral tendencies. In recruitment, organizations have explored handwriting to assess personality patterns. Not only this, in forensics, including those working with agencies like Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, there are specialists called forensic graphologists. These handwriting experts don't just read handwriting, they build behavioral and personality insights of the suspects. And even in psychology, handwriting has been understood as a window into the subconscious mind and behavior. So, across domains, HR, forensics, psychology, there is one common understanding. Handwriting reflects something deeper. And if handwriting is being used to understand an adult, then what are we doing when that handwriting is being formed in a child's formative years? Are we shaping it, or are we leaving it to the chance? Because practicing handwriting from a cursive book is handwriting improvement, purely cosmetic. But working on specific strokes with awareness, with guided correction, is handwriting development. And these are not the same. A child writes every single day, year after year, page after page. And without even realizing it, the child is building patterns. And those patterns don't just stay on paper, because the hand is writing, but the brain is learning a pattern. This pattern then shows itself into behavior. And if this is giving you a completely new way of looking at handwriting, then do share this with a parent who needs to hear this. Because this have never been told to many people before. Let me state this clearly. This is not about blaming the teachers, neither questioning the schools. Rather, this is about recognizing a missing expertise. And that is where a graphologist comes in. Not to improve handwriting, but to develop it. Because handwriting is not just for exams, not just for marks, not just for presentation. Handwriting is a tool for shaping personality and cognitive faculties like better attention and focus. Because when handwriting is guided correctly, it supports clarity of thought, self expression, and behavioral alignment. We need to redefine our expectations. Who is checking the handwriting? And is that person a handwriting expert? It is high time we start asking this question: why our children are deprived of a scientifically correct way to write? We already know that handwriting is strongly linked with personality, health, and cognitive functioning. Then why aren't we shaping the child's personality through handwriting for holistic development? In today's world, when screen time excesses are common until the schools engage certified graphologists, it is for the parents to fill this gap. More and more parents are enrolling their children for handwriting development because they understand this gap. Remember, it is not calligraphy and it is more than handwriting improvement. Today, with this episode, we close Kidographia Series. From the next episode, we move into Neuro Rehabilitation Series, understanding how the brain responds to injury, recovery, and change, and how we can support it to rebuild, reorganize, and function again. This is Maneesha Rajpal, and you have been listening to Inner Architecture.